Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm going to be doing a Riven guide for the 2016 season. So this is going to cover all of her abilities, it's going to cover her runes and masteries, it's going to cover her items, the different phases of the game, when to do what, when to build what. So let's get straight into it. So Riven's passive is called Runic Blade. Every time you use a spell, you will get a charge up to 3 charges, and then you can expend those by using auto attacks. And this is really her bread and butter ability, because if you utilize it correctly, you will get much more damage than you would out of Riven before. Riven's Q is called Broken Wings. It deals damage in a cone in front of her and has 3 charges launching you forward with each charge. Once those charges are finished, it goes on cooldown, and this is best used weaved in between your auto attacks. Riven's W is Kai Burst. It does an area of effect around Riven that both damages and stuns targets. This can be used right before your ultimate to make sure they have no reaction. Riven's E is Valor. It's a dash and a shield, and it's her most important ability because it can cancel any of her other animations. So during Riven's E, you can cast any other ability without suffering any loss of animation time. So you can cast her Q, her W, or her ult. And this also allows you to double cast abilities by using W and Q, and so on. So something that you can do with Riven's third charge of her Q is hop over small walls. And you can do this when you're facing the wall, or you can use your E to line yourself up over the wall. So here's the general ruins that you're going to want to take. The only exception you can really make is changing out some of the blues for MR blues if you're up against like double AP, but the CDR is still really important. For ruins, you're going to want to go 12-18, going for Thunderlords. Previously it was Fervor in the Ferocity tree, but since the Thunderlords buff and the Fervor nerf, it's no longer worth it. So now for the different phases of the game. Riven's early game is extremely powerful, namely because she has a ton of mobility and a ton of damage. You can use this to your advantage against squishy opponents, and against tanks you can also roam if you need to. Your objective should not only be to win your lane, but it should also be to win your allies' lanes. So help them out in lane, teleport down bot if you need to, etc, etc. Another thing is use your teleport efficiently. Teleporting to lane just to get a couple of minions is probably not worth it. Instead, try and use your teleport to help out another lane, say bot lane, and teleport to a ward behind them. Coordinate with your teammates, try and get a play going. Don't focus so much on kills, focus more on objectives and trying to spiral your lead into a win. I put the mid and late game in one section because with the new preseason, the mid and late game are really kind of fused as one because games are a lot shorter. So I'm going to cover them both in one section. So you should be always trying to focus objectives and take down objectives. You should never be trying to go for kills, but there's different times to go for different objectives and there's different methods of doing different objectives. So if you're ahead and your team is ahead and you know you have the advantage over the enemy team, you should be grouping with your team and focusing down an objective like Baron or towers or applying pressure somewhere. If you're ahead and your team isn't ahead and you have teleport up, it is best to just go split push because you can draw 2 members of their team to come and fight you, and that'll give your team an advantage in any team fights or objectives they try to contest or defend, because then they'll be in a 4v3 situation. Finally, for the build, you're going to want to go for longsword, 3 pots, and a warding totem to start. Then it's going to be dependent on their team comp and their team members, whatever they have. If they have a lot of tanks, you're going to want to go for a black cleaver to start. So you're going to want to build a Caulfield's Warhammer, then build your Tiamat depending on if you're ahead or not in your lane, and then finish your black cleaver. Then from that point you can build your Lucidity boots, and then your Yomus, or if you need a defensive item, you can go for a QSS or go straight into GA or Randuin's even. If they don't have a lot of tanks and they're really squishy, you're going to want to go for a Yomus. You're going to want to build a serrated Dirk and then go for Tiamat, and then you're going to want to finish Yomus, and then from there you can go into Black Cleaver and then finish your Hydra. Somewhere in there you want to fit in your Lucidity boots, and then you can go for your defensive items, so like a QSS or a GA or a Randuin's. And then make sure somewhere in your build you finish off your Lucidity boots with a Distortion enchantment, because that cooldown reduction on your flash is extremely important, combined with the 10% that's already on those boots. Right, so that's it for this video, guys. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.